We all think of a patent as this shield, right? A fortress to keep competitors out. But what if I told you the smartest move is sometimes to just open the gates and let everyone in? Yeah. In this explainer, we're going to dig into the real strategies behind patents and uncover why sharing can actually be way more powerful than protecting.
So, let's start with the big question. Is the main point of a patent to protect an invention? I mean, you see companies suing each other over them constantly, so duh, right? Case closed. Well, not so fast. The reality is way more complicated. And honestly, a whole lot more interesting.
And right off the bat, here's a curveball for you. Multiple studies have shown that, get this, a lot of companies don't even think patents are the best way to protect their innovations. Nope. They often put more stock in things like keeping trade secrets or just plain being the first one to hit the market. So, if a patent isn't the ultimate shield, then what the heck is it for?
Okay, and that leads us to our first big idea here. We have to stop thinking about a patent as just a shield. Think of it more like a powerful multi-purpose tool, one that innovators use in some really, really surprising ways. Yeah, a patent is basically the Swiss Army knife of innovation. For real. So, in the beginning, it's an incredible source of information. Companies are constantly digging through patent databases to see what their competitors are up to. Then, during development, it actually works as a kind of project management tool. It forces the R&D team to get their ideas down on paper to formalize everything. And then finally, it becomes that commercial asset we all know. But it's not just for blocking people. It's something you can sell, you can license, you can generate whole new streams of revenue with it.
All right, now this is where things get really interesting. This is the game-changing idea. What if the best way to win isn't to lock your technology down tight, but to spread it far and wide? I know, it sounds crazy, right? This idea just completely turns the whole logic of protection on its head.
So the key concept behind this is something called increasing returns to adoption, or RCA for short. All it really means is that a technology gets more valuable the more people use it. The perfect example is any social media platform, right? Every single person who joins it makes it more useful for everybody else on there. That's what we call a network effect. And this is huge because it means that becoming the industry's standard can be way, way more profitable than having the industry's best-kept secret. Just think about the QWERTY keyboard on your phone or your computer. It's the perfect example. And here's a fun fact for you. It was actually designed to be inefficient. Seriously. It was meant to slow typists down so the physical keys on old-school typewriters wouldn't jam. There are much better, faster layouts out there, but you know what? It doesn't matter one bit. QWERTY got there first, everyone learned to type on it, and boom, it became the standard. Its power comes from its network, not from being the best.
So this sets up a massive dilemma for any innovator. Do you go for protection? Build a monopoly where your value comes from being the only one who has the thing? Or do you go for diffusion, where you encourage everyone to adopt your tech so you can become the standard, and your value comes from the network? It really is a choice between building a fortress or building a public square.
Okay, so how do real companies deal with this choice? Well, let's dive in and look at how this all breaks down into 4 very distinct strategies, 4 patent plays that you can spot out in the real world.
All right, so here's the playbook. First up, you've got the classic protection play. This is exactly what you think it is. Think Amazon's famous one-click patent. It was designed for one reason and one reason only, to build a wall and keep competitors out. Simple. Then there's the complement play. This is a sneaky one. It's where a patent is actually used to make your secrets more secret. Transmeta did this with their Crusoe chip. They developed it in total secrecy for years, and then, right when they launched, they patented it to protect all the secrets that were about to come out. Third, we have the brilliant, and I mean brilliant, reserve play. Unisys perfected this. They let the GIF file format become the standard for images on the early internet. They just let it happen. Then, once it was everywhere and totally essential, they played their patent card and started asking for royalties. Genius. And finally, you have the patent as a bargaining chip. This is for cooperation. Companies like Thomson and NEC pooled their patents together, basically saying, I won't sue you if you won't sue me, so they could work together on something massive like developing the first plasma screens.
Now, if you want to see a company that took all 4 of those plays and blended them together into one unbelievable dominant strategy, well, you have to look at Intel. What they did is nothing short of a masterclass. So, let's break it down. At the very center of Intel's strategy, it's pretty simple. They use old-school protection patents on their crown jewels, the x86 microprocessor designs. This is the core.
the absolute foundation of their entire empire. But here's where the genius kicks in. While they're protecting that core with an iron fist, they're actively giving away other tech. Things like the AGP port for graphics cards or the plug-and-play standard. Why would they do that? Well, think about it. The better the graphics, the more powerful the computer you need, and that means you need a more powerful Intel microprocessor. They made the whole pie bigger, knowing they'd sell more of their protected core product. Incredible.
And then there's this move, which sounds absolutely insane at first. Intel actually licenses parts of its core tech to its biggest rival, AMD. Why on earth would they do that? Well, it turns their patents into powerful bargaining chips, but more importantly, it cements their x86 architecture as the industry standard. It's undeniable. Plus, it helps keep the government regulators happy. It's like they're controlling the entire game by letting other people play in it.
And there's one last layer to this whole thing. Intel doesn't just put all their eggs in the patent basket. Oh no. At the same time, they are fiercely protecting their trade secrets. So some stuff is public in a patent, and other stuff is locked away in a vault. It's this hybrid, public and private strategy that makes them so tough to compete with. They're a moving target. You can never quite see the whole picture, which makes it almost impossible to copy what they're doing.
So, after looking at how a master like Intel plays the game, it all comes back to that fundamental question for any innovator. What's your move? Do you protect or do you share?
There's this quote that just nails the whole thing. It boils the entire dilemma down to a really simple equation. See, a protection strategy is all about maximizing your market share. It's about getting the biggest possible slice of the pie. But a diffusion strategy is about maximizing the total value of the market. It's about making the entire pie as big as you possibly can. The true genius of Intel? They figured out a way to do both at the same time.
And that's really the question I want to leave you with. If you had the next big thing, the next billion-dollar idea, what would you do? Would you build a fortress with impenetrable walls to protect it from everyone? Or would you knock those walls down and build a massive ecosystem with your idea right at the very center? As we've seen, the right answer, well, it's not so simple, is it?